Hello and welcome back to the Broken Doll. Well, I have both my Ricky doll arms sitting here, and I've been experimenting with one of them first. They both look the same at one point. It was just as orange as this one has not been done. This one has been done with the Pimple cream. It is a lot lighter. It's not perfectly light, but it's better than what it was, and I think I can live with that a little bit better than where it was. How did I do it? How did I get it a little bit lighter? Well, you can see the two middle fingers are doing, like they're okay, but you're looking at the thumb, this finger, and the baby finger. So, that's where our problem areas are on these dolls. Now, I'm going to let this sit overnight with just the Pimple cream on these fingers here. I'm going to lather them up, wrap them in the plastic, and just let them be. But how did I get that done? Speaks proper English here, some English here. How did I do it? Okay, so let's take a look at how I did this. Okay, so this is what I did. I have my Pimple cream here. This is 10% benzoyl peroxide. In Canada here, we can only get 5%. I have not seen 10. If it's here, I just haven't seen it then. But I have looked pretty close to everything, and all I see is 5%. So I ordered this online off of Amazon, and it works beautifully. Now, you're just getting a 5% more to make it 10%. The thing is that the 5% does work too. I've used it before, and it works great. But a little bit more strength is always nice. So I get my saran wrap out. My Glad wrap, that's how you call it here. Probably everywhere else too. The reason why we call it saran wrap, a lot of, my daughter went over to the States there and she says, do you know they call it plastic wrap? I said, never heard of it. What do you mean plastic wrap? What is it? And she goes, saran wrap. And I went, oh, she goes, why do we call it saran wrap? I said, well, because when the plastic wrap came out, the only one available was saran wrap. That's the only one. So we called it saran wrap, by the company's name. You went to the store, we didn't have different Kleenex boxes of different companies. We had one, Kleenex. So we said, we're going to go get some Kleenex. Where in the States, they call it tissue. We never called it tissue. Nobody did. We called it Kleenex because why? It was the company's name. The only one we had. The only company at the time was Kleenex. The only company at the time for plastic wrap was saran wrap. And now we have many different kinds out there of different, we have no name, we have a Glad wrap, saran wrap, we have all kinds of different wraps out there now. Now, I guess we could call it plastic wrap, but in our day, I'm going back to the 1970s, we didn't have a bounty full of different companies that made a certain product. And so this was all new stuff coming in, and the only company we had were the ones that we called it by name. So that's why, where I'm from, that's why we called it what we did. Now, like I say, today, I don't use I do have the Kleenex box in the house, the company's name, but we still call it Kleenex. It doesn't matter what box you bought. I bought Kleenex. And that just means you bought a box of tissues. That's what it means. Just different culture, different way of picking up things over the years. Now, a lot of the younger people are not saying it as much, I noticed. But for my generation, we still call it that. Where's a Kleenex box? And when I was at work, we would say that we're Kleenex. Even though it wasn't even it had a different name to it, a different company. So just something different I thought I'd share with you. But anyhow, so this is what I did. What you're trying to do is when you put this, okay, the process is to put your plastic wrap down, put some your Pimple cream on, and then spread it all over the doll's hand as well. Then you put it in a car where it's nice and hot, or you can put it underneath a heat source of some sort, like a lamp or something that creates a lot of heat. Now what you're doing is you're cooking the benzoyl peroxide, and that's what you're doing. You're heating it up and making it chemically change a bit to take that stain up fast, like it's eating up that stain, which is what you want it to do. And that's why we're using a heat source. I use my hairdryer because I'm in a 4-season area, and part of the country we get 4 seasons, and we're not warm anymore. So this is the best way for me to do this. And so anyways, I take my little brush and I smooth this around, but I'm also going to put it on the areas where I'm having my issues. And that's right in here, all up in here, Make sure I'm getting it on the fingers that really need it. And what you start seeing is it starts to bubble a bit. Yeah, there's a bubbling effect, and that means you're heating it up and you're getting the results that you want on this. And you just, hopefully it'll lighten it up more than what you like, to what you want, you know, type of thing. I'm gonna put it on all the fingers because it's gonna go on all the fingers regardless. So I might as well just put it on. And there we go. And I really want to concentrate on making sure it's on the areas that I really want it to be on. Okay. And that's why people were telling me about you can get the peroxide that for hair, I don't know, I don't know much about hair, but for hair, and you can use it as well. This is the same idea. You know, what I watched that gentleman with the peroxide, and he used it just as well, and it worked just as well too. And it's the peroxide that you're doing some science here. You're just cooking up the old peroxide, and you're changing its chemical effect, I guess, and making it work to now. Its new job is to lighten the hand. So now I've got my elastic on it. I have it wrapped up with my saran wrap, plastic wrap, glad wrap, whatever you want to call it. And anyways, now what we're going to do is we're going to heat this plastic wrap up. And hopefully we can lighten it. Now you might have to run this for, my camera could die out. But I will show you, you see the results on this one here, that it did lighten it up. Before I go in the shop, I leave the shop tonight, I'll be wrapping both of these back up and just leaving the peroxide on it, the pimple cream on it. So you don't want to make your plastic too thick, because then the heat has to fight through it. So you just want to just lay it on there. And this is what I do. Sometimes you can see the pimple cream starting to bubble, and it gets a little frothy. And that's what you're looking for when you see it getting a little bubbly and frothy. On a high setting of heat. And try not to touch the plastic, because you can break it open very easily, and then you have to re-wrap it again. So now I'm going to keep my fingers off of it. a few bubbles on the thumb area. There's a few bubbles there starting to form. It's starting to cook. Or heat up, I guess. Okay, so you see the idea of what I'm doing. I'm heating up this arm, this hand. Now be careful with your doll because you don't want to distort the hand or anything. This is a very well-made material. Someone was saying that maybe the reason why the Barbie doll's arm had to sit a month in the denture pellets there is because it was a different material, and that is true. It probably was a different material and it took it longer to absorb into the material. This is a softer material, more porous, and therefore able to absorb quicker. And that would say it all when it comes to the reason why it lightened up. Now, I was looking at the legs, and the legs aren't doing as well as the arms. The arms did wonderful, but you can still see that the arms darkened a bit, even afterwards. They are, you know, they're still great. I'm not complaining, but I noticed that they did get a little darker after I took them out and they dried up, but they're still looking a lot better than what they were. So that being said, you know, I'm still pleased with the results of what I've done. Now, you can leave this with the saran wrap on for the night and it won't hurt anything. Just let it sit, let it just bathe in this pimple cream. And you don't have to worry about it. And I just, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to let it sit like this for the night. I'm going to rewrap this one back up again. And I'm just going to let them sit overnight. And because as time goes on, I'm seeing that this is still a little dark. I might be able to lighten it up by just letting it sit overnight with the pimple cream. It might work something just on its own. And so anyways, I hope you enjoy this. Again, it's a time. You just have to sit and be patient and take your time as you're using your blow dryer. All you're doing is hurrying up the effects. That's what you're doing. Instead of leaving it in a hot car for hours on end, you're doing it quicker. That's all you're doing. But again, you got to be careful that you're not going to hurt your doll. This type of vinyl is doing very well with the heat that I'm using. It's not distorting it. I'm very careful to watch and see. You know, there's certain probably plastics. I wouldn't do it on plastics. Plastics don't do as well with this type of thing. But the soft vinyls, it's doing very well. This is a 1950 vinyl, and it's receiving it very well. So, but I'm just going to let it sit and just let it enjoy its pimple cream. And there you go. And we'll see what it looks like in the morning. And it won't hurt anything just to let it sit in the pimple cream. But like I said, I'm still seeing a little bit of dark here. In my next video is going to go look over at the legs now. So stay tuned, more to come. Thank you for joining me. I hope this helps some of you out. You might want to try this on some of your dolls. Again, take caution. Be very careful as you're doing this because you are working with heat. Protect yourself. I had a heat glove on. This is a heat stab type glove. Works beautiful. And you know, watch your doll, test it every so often, shut it off, just take a look at it, see that the fingers aren't going some other direction, you know. So, you know, but this is holding up very well. And I only would do this for about maybe 15 minutes, you know, and I go in and out type of thing. So, but anyhow, I hope you enjoyed what you saw. More to come. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.